In the bottom left now in the gold, folks, he is for PSISTORM. He's looking actually really good. He's top of his GSL group right now. It's Gumiho. And they have it right on the bottom of his GSL group, looking to make that comeback and looking to win this. It's Byun. With how their returns have been to pro play, Gumiho at the top of the round of 10 of a GSL group and Byun at the bottom is kind of the opposite of where I would expect it to be. But, well, we got mirrored builds for now. I don't think that should surprise anyone. Barracks Double Gas Factory is just really how this goes for the most part. It gives you a lot of defense. It gives you offensive potential if you need it. And on a map like Waterfall, with how small that is, you don't want to try to be greedy and go for a Reaper Expand when you really don't have to. So we can expect. So I mentioned this in the intros. We're in GSL season right now. Or we're in the wow. GSL round of 10 week 2 starts on Monday. Happens on Monday and Thursday, Group A and Group B respectively. We'll learn a lot then. And these players very clearly, we saw how Byun played against Estrella. Apparently, I talked to Steadfast. We saw how Gumiho played versus Hero. We're seeing them really sit and hide a lot of their builds because, well, the grand prize of an Open Cup is $200, and was it 15 EPT points? The grand prize of GSL is like $28,000 and a whole lot more. So it makes sense. But it does tend to lead to some very, very standard games or very weird games, because honestly, even showing a standard game can be a little bit too much information. And remember, Gumiho still has to play. No, Gumiho has played Bunny. So Gumiho is actually fine showing TVT, but Byun is not. Byun has to play. Byun has to play Cure in that massive Terran group of GSL, Group B. So we're gonna see a couple Reapers from Gumiho. They're gonna show up in the main base, pair them up together, and let's see what Byun has defensively here. He's got 2 Reapers and Hellions, so really, he's got more stuff, and really, he should be fine. He does get scattered out, but let's be real. It's a TVT in the early game. 9 times out of 10, you're going to see the exact same thing. And I wish someone would translate for us, but unfortunately, we don't have Maddox in the chat to tell us what Gumiho was saying. But Byun's like, whatever he said, Byun is bored with it. We do see a quick medevac coming out from Byun here, and this is something, again, he's been messing around with in it's something we've seen Byun messing around with pretty much in every matchup where he goes for a quick medevac. It just kind of this kitchen sink drop where I'm going to get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of the other thing is what do Widowmine get? Okay, got a Marine. Here comes the drop of Byun. Now, he knows that there's a Cyclone on the map, which is really useful information. Now he says, okay, maybe I have to be a little bit more careful where I drop in. The Cyclone lock on, that can cause some problems. So for now, he's going to actually drop out I thought he was going to go in the corner here, but he's going to drop out outside the base. And are we going to see him run in? I think so. So there's a drop coming. Oh, this game's nutty. There's a drop from Gumiho as well. It's just a little bit slower with less stuff and a good hot pickup there on the Cyclones. So they really don't represent a ton of threat unless they are getting those lock-ons. And Byun is just dodging them all. But there are 3 Cyclones here because this is Gumiho we're talking about. Cyclones not going down. 2 SCVs fall, and now here comes the drop on the other side. It's only 1 Cyclone and a couple of Marines, and this Cyclone locks onto the medevac. So it forces the medevac out. It forces less value. Meanwhile, Byun dropping in once again. At the very least, he should get 1 or 2 of the SCVs. The low ones don't get targeted down, so 1 more SCV falls, but this game is nutty. This is, you know what this feels like? And again, we're talking about GSL very clearly there. They're kind of hiding some stuff. This feels like a team kill. This feels like two practice partners who've been working together for a while, and they're like, "You'll never expect this," and it's absolutely what Byun and Gumiho were expecting. But here comes the Raven harass as well. So at the end of all the harass, Byun got one extra SCV from the drop or from the drop idea, and he gets one SCV from the Raven. So he puts himself about 3 to 4 workers. And he's going for a second Raven as expected. Third base on the way as well. But he's got some pressure on the map with a Raven. Wait, no, I'm sorry. He's going for a third Raven. Again, this is a development. Wow, I can't talk tonight. This is a development that we've been seeing more and more so in modern TVT, where you're not just locked into one, maybe two, or 2 Ravens, maybe 1. We are seeing 3 Raven play a little bit more. We are seeing early medevac play a little bit more. Sometimes we're seeing both, as we saw in this game. As players are really confident now on the Barracks Double Gas Factory idea, so we're starting to see them play around with it a little bit, looking for those inefficiencies, looking for those opportunities that they may be able to pounce upon. This Raven is not where it needs to be. 1 shot, 2 shot, it's dead. That's a problem. Now there are no Ravens on the field for Gumiho, and 3 for Byun. Yeah, Byun's down army supply a little bit, but much of that can be nullified. How many Cyclones do we have? It's 2, 4 tanks. Yeah, there is certainly enough Raven energy to nullify these tanks down. I know I like that scan from... That's a fantastic scan from Byun, actually. Gumiho scans out, says, oh, there's no army there. Okay. He may still... Oh, well, never mind. Meanwhile, there's a massive drop. I'm talking about tanks. Yeah, massive drop from Gumiho on the other side of the map. I'm sorry, we missed that. But 20 SCVs have gone down, and Byun cancels some add-ons because he needs to build something, and even that's hard. So he says, I'm going to find my way to the other side of the map. My Ravens will break your high ground, and that seems rather nice. But here's the problem. Gumiho's already in the high ground. So Byun finds his way in, but he doesn't kill that many SCVs. The natural finds his way into the third base. And this tank is still here. It's going to get some shots off. This is a far better setup for Gumiho than it is for Byun, and Byun just steps out. Gumiho first moves advantage on the drop, and he takes game 1. In the upper right, folks, in the gold, up 1-0 for PSISTORM. Gumiho. And of course, the bottom left now in the red. Down 1, losing the base trade. It's Byun. Again, we see mirrored builds, but this should not surprise anyone, as this is TVT. And the Barracks Double Gas Factory idea is just something that we see day in and day out. So, big difference here in the build already. We see a factory that is like 10 seconds, there's like 3 seconds faster for Gumiho. Clearly, that's the build differentiation that we have been looking for. Clearly. But again, there's a reason. I said this last game. I guess I will continue to say it. There's a reason that this is the default build. It keeps you safe against all the early aggression, the proxies, the things like that, and it does give you some agency on the map. But we actually are seeing some differences in the gameplay. I joked about it with the... Oh, never mind. It's like, oh, maybe Byun's gonna build his command center on the high ground. I didn't see an SCV going down, but he sent it down there now. I mean, Gumiho's natural's a little faster, but it really will not make a difference. We saw the game break open when we just saw opposing drops, and Gumiho had a little bit more. We saw Byun eking small advantages with his Raven play and his early medevac. We don't really know whether that is going to happen at this point. We don't really know where the players want to go. I think we will continue to see a decent amount of early aggression, less so from Byun, as we do see that Widowmine on the way, and normally that Widowmine signals defense, as one Widowmine does a great job of cutting down the power of 3 Reapers and 2 Hellions, 5 Reapers, 3 Hellions, something like that. It just, the splash damage it does automatically kills a Hellion or automatically kills a Reaper, and then just your Reapers and your Hellions, they clean up the rest. So that tells us that Byun maybe wants to play a little bit more defensively, or on the flip side, he wants to use this medevac. There's a medevac on the way, so who cares what I'm saying? He's going to use the Weta Mine to lock down his natural, so he can maybe get a little bit more adventurous on the map with the Marines and the Reapers and Hellions, and really the same drop we saw him do in game number 1. Meanwhile, Gumiho, he's committing straight to the Raven. Or, I mean, there's a world where it's a Banshee, but most likely, there we go, committing straight to the Raven, to that higher tech idea, to what is actually a more defensive setup. So we see him split out here on the map. 1 Cyclone done. Not another one on the way just yet, as there's a 3rd base on the way as well. So Gumiho, if he's allowed to pretty much just do whatever he wants, he's going to be fine. But this drop from Byun does represent some threat. He's up about 5 army supply, and this army from Gumiho is kind of out of position, so Byun tries to get on top of that immediately. 1 Hellion dies pretty quickly, but good lock on there. Will force everything back from Byun, and, well, he got a Hellion. Yeah, that's, what, 75 minerals? 100 minerals, I'm sorry. And he really doesn't get the best scout out either. There will always be that gas on the natural. It's TVT. You need the gas for the tanks. You need the gas for the Ravens. You need really those 2 things. So it's not the biggest scout. 4 gas, though. It's good to tell us that Gumiho wants to go back. It's right around that 430 mark. But those gas timings, they're a little bit more. They're a little bit more nebulous in TVT than they are in, say, TVZ, where it's like, oh, 4 gas at 430. Yeah, that's a mech play. Not quite set in stone. Not quite as set in stone, I guess. But now Gumiho's 3rd base is done. Byun trying to get, take it, or at least claw back some of that timing advantage or disadvantage by building his natural expansion on location. But it still will be a position where Gumiho will be able to find himself ahead in worker count. Triple mules are just a wonderful, wonderful thing. But it seems like no one really wants to roll the dice. No one really wants to seem to flip that coin and go super, well, as I say that, Byun's down the map. So what do I know? This did feel like a game where it's going to start to get pretty passive, but Byun is on double Raven. He's getting a 3rd Raven here on top of that medevac. So he's going to have a decent amount of, I mean, he's actually, how many medevacs? Yeah, he's going to have a little more healing than Gumiho will, and still a lot more utility on the map with all these Ravens. Byun rotating right side. He's going to have to deal with these rocks, and he will, knocking them down. And Gumiho does not seem to be aware of the army of Byun just yet. But Gumiho, again, he is, as long as he survives this push from Byun, and maybe the next one, he's going to be in a wonderful spot. 3 CCs, or 3 orbitals, excuse me, to 2. His 1-1 much faster. His 1-1 getting started even before the E-bays of Byun get started, really. So Byun has to find some value here, and already Gumiho scouts things out. So Bio runs forward. Auto turrets get dropped. You're just trying to prevent the Ravens from getting the lock-ons, or from getting the disables, excuse me, and they will be able to do so. But the auto turrets from, oh wait, the auto turrets from Gumiho, they win anyways. The Ravens don't get the damage they're looking for. The tanks standing strong. But the Bio, they continue to run forward. And it doesn't, the healing that we were talking about, that 1 medevac actually made such a difference. All the tanks fall, or at least all but 1. This Raven now goes down. And Gumiho stays alive. But that was a much closer engagement than I thought it was going to be at first. Now the Vikings, they run forward, forcing Byun back. But it felt like when the Ravens could not just lock those tanks down and could not disable them, it felt like that fight was going to be Gumiho's. Especially with the auto turrets kind of winning. But that medevac, just keeping so much of that Bio alive, allowed them to get on top of the tanks, get their shots off, and kill the tanks off. Which was surprising. But well done there by Byun. I don't know that this second push happens, though. The Vikings, they're going to get a couple pot shops there. Excuse me, on the medevacs. Now the tanks run forward. SCVs are going to get pulled here, and this is just not a fight that Byun wins. Not at all. In fact, I think you can just pull the SCVs back. It doesn't matter anymore, because you don't want to lose too many. Now we're going to see the medevac. Okay, it's going to unlock the tanks. That's fine. Gumiho, I think he may be going a little bit too far forward here. He is, again, he's fine. He has a tank. He's knocked down the medevac. Byun does not nearly have the map agency anymore. But Byun is up about 8 workers. You know, he has been able, because SCVs were pulled, and because they, well, A, they died, and B, they were pulled, Byun has been mining a little bit more. as of late. But 1-1 is done for Gumiho. Stim as well. His bio is just so much better. So if he can ever find a position where Byun is unsieged, like maybe right now, he can jump on top of this. But it looks like there's a tank. Yeah, that is that sieged up. That Gumiho was not aware of. So he's got to back up. This chess match is not really going to work out for Gumiho right now. And Byun's 1-1 will complete. It's about 20 seconds out. Oh, 15. Excuse me. I'm sorry. 5 seconds off. It's pretty close to completion. So that timing advantage that Gumiho had, it's now out the window. And yeah, he's going to have 2-2 faster than his opponent's 2-2, but that's a ways off. So for now, Byun is going to be able to play with parity. He's going to find that the Reaper's actually going to deny the 4th base for a while, which is annoying. And with these 4 tanks here, actually that's pretty cool. So he's going to try to, he was hoping Gumiho, and Gumiho actually taking the bait, just retreat with, or respond with just a small amount of his army, which he could then kill. And there we go. The 4th base will get canceled. Byun's 4th base just about done. Stimming to the natural. But there's a tank there. Big shots, say no, no, no. But Byun continues to run forward here. We saw him bow constrict to stray out of existence. He's got the same game plan against Gumiho. But yeah, the bio runs forward and they realize, nope, we cannot take that fight. As the gas goes down. But Gumiho, he actually, this is a better run by for him than what Byun had, because if he knocks the base down, I think he, no, the rally's too strong. I was gonna say, if he knocks the base down, well, that is a full base kill, not a cancel. But even still. Not really all that much. It looks like the bio is still here, sitting behind the tanks. So some sort of hot drop on the tanks is not really going to work out all that well, as the armory does fall. But really, the armory only important for 2-2 right now. Technically for +1 mech attack as well, but really Gumiho cannot afford that, as Byun has just opened up an absolutely massive supply lead in this game. Number 2, he's up 173 to really it was 130 at one point. 30 army supply, but realistically, that army supply doesn't always matter. Tanks do such a good job of locking things down. And Byun is pushed on the north side. It gets a tank, but it is forced to run away. And the game goes on. But it's a game where Byun has his 4th base solidly set up, where he has a planetary, where he has a tank defending it. But maybe this is going to be Gumiho's timing. His 2-2 just about done. And he's starting to build some semblance of an army. There's a bunch of Marines going to drop on top of this tank, and looking between the Marines and the friendly fire to kill the tank off. They will be successful. 1 Marine survives, and Medevac, well, traded his life, but that unlocks maybe a bit more of a position for Byun to push into. For the Vikings, they do still dominate the high ground. We're going to pay attention to this fight, though. Byun steps on top of things. The tanks are not yet sieged, but it does not matter. He just has too much stuff, too much bio, even as he is down in upgrades. It just means the Marines don't die as quickly. Byun just has too much there, so he's going to be able to zone this army out, stim straight into the 3rd base. He's going to be able to find where the 4th base is trying to get made, and this is just a bad position for Gumiho. So now SCVs have to get pulled. 3 tanks are here, but the concave actually from Byun is rather nice indeed, but even still, or excuse me, from Gumiho is pretty nice, but even still, 20 workers go down, even as Gumiho clears that army. Byun still has a supply lead. He still has an army supply lead, excuse me. He is up 26 workers. And he still has that chokehold. He's denying gas from Gumiho. Gumiho on 5 gas. Byun could be on 8 if he wanted. So Gumiho trying to dislodge this one. Doom dropping on top of the tanks. He will be able, that will be successful at the end of the day. And actually, Byun has forgotten his 3-3 until right now. So despite Gumiho losing the armory, his upgrades are, they're in a good spot. Not for the tank upgrades, of course. +1 mech attack. Almost done here for Byun, and not even started for Gumiho, which matters a lot, because when you get to +2 attack, you one-shot Marines, or you one-shot Stim Marines, excuse me. Is that what the math is? I forget. Drop the main base from Byun at this point, where Gumiho just does not have enough. Well, I mean, actually, the army supply right now is not terrible. He's just going to target the he's going to target the E-base down. The one advantage that Gumiho had in this game is gone. No more 3-3, no more advantageous upgrade timing, and Gumiho just cannot respond. So, +3 attack, done. +3 armor, done. This medevac trying to get out, but no boost, so it will not be able to escape. And, well, Byun, do we have a 5th base? Yeah, there we go. He's got another orbital on the way. He's starting to expand and take the map at this point, understanding that he has traded, maybe not better, but better in the context of just having more bases pretty much the entire game. He has massively outmined Gumiho for the last 5 minutes. Which means he just needs to expand and take the map. Yeah, it's kind of hard to break a game like this. Inside and Out has some wonderful tank positions. Now Byun stims in the natural. And that, I mean, that tank there defensively, it doesn't have any upgrades. So Byun, this double drop here doesn't have a 3-3, but it's going to kill an orbital. And Gumiho is starting to fall apart from the inside out at this point. He says, I can either defend the front or I can defend my home. And unfortunately, he's got to do both, and he just doesn't really seem like he can. 3-3, about halfway done for Byun. So at least that's a disadvantage that Gumiho's not going to have to deal with for a little bit. But now Gumiho just triggering the fight here, getting on top of things. Can he make this happen? The tanks just defensively say, no, no, no. They tried to make him go to rehab, and he said, no, no, no. He falls, tied up 1-1. In the upper right now, in the gold, with SCVs on the map fairly early, it's Gumiho. And of course, the bottom left in the ready. Fell apart game 1, but he won a pretty convincing game 2. Well, his name's Byun. So Barracks Double Gas Expand coming in from Byun once, Barracks Double Gas Factory, excuse me, coming in from Byun once again. And Gumiho did proxy, but this is going to be a single proxy for a Reaper because it was scattered out. Byun saw the SCV. I think he saw the second SCV. So I think he should have a good understanding of what's happening. In all honesty, single barracks proxy is just not powerful in TVT. Not with the openers as they are. It very explicitly keeps you safe against this kind of thing. Ooh, well, as I say that, Gumiho proxying a factory on the map as well. So you're gonna see proxy 1-1-1 type of setup. It's not something we see all that often. They're gonna be, yeah, okay, starport here. I am very excited to see what we're gonna get. It likely just some sort of drop, maybe a Hellion drop. It takes what, 4 Hellions, I think. I'm actually not sure with TVT because you don't really see massed Hellions in this format, whether it's 3 or 4 in terms of what one shots. Because of course, three Hellions one shot is Zergling or a pro or a drone or a pro, but they have 5 less HP. So for now, Byun actually, ooh, this is punishable. His natural's going down the low ground. I thought he knew what was up based, well, not only on the fact that, you know, I thought he'd seen it, but also the way he was chatting. He was like, lol. You know, he typed the multiple Z's, and that generally says, hey, look, you know, bud, I'm onto you. Now 2 Reapers, 1 Hellion versus 2 Reapers and Hellion. There is an SCV to maybe buffer here, but the Hellions, which seems the Reapers of Gumiho, they take damage first. So Byun he just beats this. This is not a good scenario for, well, actually, this is getting rather low. Another Reaper arrives, excuse me, onto the high ground. They will go in the way on through, and the natural still will be denied. More Hellions are getting, well, not reactored out. They're getting built out as we get Liberators added in. So it's going to be Reaper, Hellion, Liberator, the name of the game, and Byun cannot, or excuse me, Gumiho cannot move onto the high ground. Not with his Widowmine right here, not unless you want to sacrifice something. So maybe you get a Hellion super low and then you sacrifice it up on the high ground, but it's complicated. Now it looks like at least the Reaper portion of this aggression is done. I think Gumiho understands that with the Widowmine. He can't really break it, but he does have, what is it, 3 Hellions, 2 Reapers. Got a Liberator that's going to show up back here. And there's a cycle only about halfway done. So Byun will sacrifice there we go. Reaper will fall. He's going to drive in the main base. He does have 1-shot potential. Actually, the lineup here from Gumiho is fantastic. He doesn't lose all that much. And now, well, the lock-on has been used on the Hellion. So Marines will fall. Liberator siege. Well, no, it died. Never mind. Okay. I guess, yeah, there was a Viking out. So I got really excited. And then I wasn't. But you know what you should be excited about? Someone asked for battle cruisers, I believe. I think I saw someone in the stream earlier tonight saying, I hope I see proxy battle cruisers in TVT. Well, folks, we have battle cruisers in TVT. Versus Byun's cloaked banshee play. I am very curious to see how this one works out. Proxy BCs in TVT, like notionally, are better at least than proxy BCs in TVP because Stalkers just kind of shred them. Marines do not fight battle cruisers all that well. Cyclones do and Vikings do. So it very much depends on the opening. And Byun actually going for pseudo mech here. He has mag field accelerators on the way. Right now it's only one factory, but still mag field accelerators means that these Cyclones will absolutely shred the battle cruiser. But of course, Byun has scouted this, so that really shouldn't surprise us all that much. Now, the positioning on the battle cruisers means that it can run in, teleport out, which is pretty important, right? You don't want to teleport in and then lose the BC to the Vikings and the Cyclones. One of the reasons that battle cruiser play can be so powerful, as there the scan goes down, and Gumiho deciding whether or not to make this move, it can be so powerful against Zerg is they don't really have a way to deal with dead airspace, which is kind of a problem. There we go, Cyclone lock on, they're back, they run away. Meanwhile, well, Banshee's gonna show up, and there is detection because there are scans, but Banshees find a lot more value. And into the main base as well. We will see a missile turret go down, but, well, Cyclone lock-on says, pop, pop, pop. It's dead, but the natural finding a lot more value. 7 workers have died, and yeah, there's going to be a missile turret done, but still, Byun can kind of play on the, or excuse me. Yeah, Byun can play on the edge of things. He gets 9 workers and denies really all the mining at the natural, so this game is, in fact, bonkers. Hey, oh, the battlecruiser didn't teleport home. I assumed it would. Meanwhile, tanks in the middle of the map, building factory in the middle of the map, building tanks, because that is just the way this game is going. It is mech for Gumiho that he's not really getting. Okay, I guess technically mech is getting off the ground because battle cruisers are flying, but let's be real, this mech is not really getting off the ground all that well. Byun is just, the Banshee play has found so much value, and still, despite missile turrets being up, despite scans getting used, Gumiho can't chase it down. But, you know, there are now 2 battlecruisers on the map. That is more than 1. Cyclones are out of position here, so 2 BCs with lock-ons, or with Yamato, excuse me. They can knock down, you know, 2 of the Cyclones, but there are Vikings here in the sky, and bye-bye-bye. Battlecruiser has to teleport on home. Meanwhile, another one flies in, looks for a little bit of something, and, well, some SCVs will run away, and by the way, Byun is going, I said pseudo-mech, he is going by behind this, and this battlecruiser, yep, it's going to take a volley. And now it runs back home, I believe. That finally looks like this Banshee will not go down because Cloak is Imba. You heard it here first, folks. And finally, okay, it's finally dead. But at the end of the day, I want to say Byun got a lot more. Yeah, 13 SCVs going down to 8. Remember, this is a game where Gumiho is going mech, so strap in, folks. This game is going to go a little bit longer, but the big news, Byun just knocked down so much of the tech of Gumiho. He's going to find this, he's going to find the factory in the middle of the map. He might even get, I don't think he's quite fast enough to get the tank, but he's going to find this factory in the middle of the map, which means that there will be 1 factory production. Literally, I mean, I guess there's a barracks, but that's not really what Gumiho wants to build out of. So it's literally 1 factory production. It's not even building anything right now because Gumiho's supply blocked. So the position that Gumiho finds himself in is pretty abysmal. Byun's third base now done on position, floating over. Instant orbital as well, so we can mule out of that. He can scan out of that, do whatever he wants. But Byun does have to, it feels like he's got to be a little careful. He wants to keep his Vikings at home to make sure he doesn't fall apart to some sort of battlecruiser counterattack, which does mean that this push from Byun is not quite as powerful as he would like, because it's just hard enough for him to get vision and well, Marine tank Cyclone without stim, without upgrades does not break this composition of Gumiho easily. So, okay, we are starting to see Marauder production get started here. Or concussive shells as well. Upgrades about halfway done. What I want to see from Byun really, and generally, I mean, this is just how Bio plays versus mech. We got to see that fourth base. We got to see him start to, especially with the map control that he has right now, we got to see him start to really take advantage of that mine a lot more. Because theoretically, now, of course, Gumiho, he has spent a lot. He spent a lot on this, hasn't been super successful, but theoretically, his army will eventually outscale what Byun has. So Byun, he's going to have to mine more and, you know, play like a Zerg versus a mech player. Now, that rule of thumb has changed a little bit over time because it feels like kind of these 3-base almost all-ins from Terrans have been able to break mech with pretty good accuracy. When they 1-1 timing with Marauders and Concussive Shells just attacking you from multiple angles. But, well, it's data C. It doesn't really work. This tank line is rather insurmountable as Byun does lose some stuff on the north side, but really not. The age of the Cyclones, they kept him alive. They knocked B. Actually, it looks like, okay, one BC. Oh, maybe, did they kill a BC out here? No. Battlecruiser died at some point. I missed where that was. And now moving forward, his army supply was not quite as powerful. His lead, at least, was not quite as powerful as once was. Hey, here we go. There's a battle cruiser, and Gumiho he's actually going to be able to teleport out. But what this does is it unlocks a drop. That being said, those missile turrets are powerful. Only one drop gets down. The Vikings land here as well. This is just a lot of Byun does break through. Okay, I was like, that's a very expensive trade there, but it unlocks the drop now. This battle cruiser, it's not super powerful. It has a Yamato. It's going to kill a Viking, but even still, it is low and it has to be careful. So now we're going to see more missile turrets attempt to go up, but these missile turrets are a little bit further back from the edge. That does open up maybe a bit more of a push as now Byun repositioning a little bit more, but that supply lead he had not quite as powerful as it once was. But oh, okay, he's got range on a tank. And he's going to be able to knock that down, knock down the gas as well. And when we talk about mech, I mean, it is 6 gas. It is the gas that is by far the most important thing, but the Viking count from Byun is just not where it needs to be just yet, or where it needs to be because he lost a lot of them trying to crack the high ground. So the battlecruiser stays alive, the Viking stays alive, and that means that Byun has to run away. But he's on 4 bases, and actually I love this 4-base orbital. He's got his 5th base on the way as well. And yeah, Byun is trading less efficiently by about 1,100 resources. But again, I question you, does it matter when Byun stays 1 to 2 bases ahead? Although, actually, as I say that, he's only like half a base ahead right now. And we're not seeing him do that bio versus mech thing where if you can't break the mech player, you just kind of transition into the late game faster. He's staying on his bio. All right, we're not seeing the mass starport transition into heavy Raven tech. Not just yet. He still has hope. He still has a belief that he can break this, but with the Vikings and the missile turrets, I mean, even as the missile turrets have been somewhat dealt with, oh, maybe. He scans it out, says, okay, I can make this happen. We're going to see the drop immediately, and there we go. He's onto the tank. Only one medevac follows. This is the medevac that already had stuff really unloaded, so missile turrets go down. Battlecruiser teleports back home, and does this unlock anything for Byun? I'm not sure. The Blue Flame Hellions doing a great job on these Marines. Battlecruiser getting low, but I mean, Battlecruisers, they have a lot of armor. Marines don't really kill them all that well. But he does get some tanks. And now Byun, he drops on top of the tanks on the high ground. Cyclone's looking for the lock-on, but really you're just trying to break this position, knock down as many tanks as you can. He gets 1. But there's still 5 tanks in that line. Byun trying to swarm here, but Gumiho has really locked this position down. And one of the things about mech, when we talk about in TVT in particular, mech is a style that is pretty much only special in Gumiho that play it. And Mario a little bit. It's hard to find good practice, especially when we talk about these mech players that are so stylistic. You thought about it, Byun. I feel like, oh no, those were tanks. Never mind. I was like, I feel like that's the play. You know, you just drop Marauders, but that would have been 8 units, not 4. So he doesn't want to drop tanks on top of tanks. And this battlecruiser is going to arrive on it. There's a random SCV with a battlecruiser to make sure you can repair it properly. That's just bonkers. Love to see it. Byun. There we go. 8 Marauders and 4 tanks in there. Is now Byun going to try to knock this battlecruiser down, but I don't think we have the... Where's the Viking count? We have no Vikings on the field right now, so battlecruiser's not really dealt with. And now here comes the army of Gumiho. He's at 2-1 and doesn't have armor. That doesn't really matter. He's maxed out. And this is the time that he's been looking for. Big tank shot here to start, but Byun is not in position. Not really, but look at he's got this drop on the left side. The Vikings are not where they need to be, but there we go, dropping in. Byun looking to try to break his opponent right here. If he can get on top of the tanks, he's gonna be fine, but it's so hard. Oh, with the Hellbats, but he does it anyways. The Hellbats are dead. The tanks are dead. Gumiho's army is dead. The battlecruiser is gonna kill the planetary, of course, because that's just how that works. And the army of, the army of Gumiho is not terrible. He's been able to reinforce a lot here. The tanks on the right side, they're guaranteed dead. But now Byun's going to be able to siege this position up, but he's sieging up slowly. He wants to be able to run in, but there are so many tanks here with that +2 attack. They're shredding everything. And Byun thought he had counterattack potential. He just doesn't. His tanks are falling. His army is falling. He lost his planetary. The battlecruiser is uncontested even still. Gumiho has found a way back into this game, and I would posit that despite the supplies saying that, oh, Byun has 4 more army supply, whatever, maybe a little bit more economy, Gumiho is very ahead in this game right now. His army is much more expensive, particularly in the gas count, which when we're looking at games like this, it really is the gas that matters more than the minerals. Even with the bio player, because of the Marauder count, because of the Vikings, because of the necessary tanks. The Hellbats, they run forward, or they waddle forward, really doing what they can. This battlecruiser's found so much value, and the Vikings to Byun will never take the fight properly. It's armored Vikings versus no armor. Byun, he's really in a tough spot now. He's adding in, there we go, Fusion Core. I don't even know what the Fusion Core is for at this point. I mean, maybe for Liberators. I don't think he wants to contest. I don't think he wants to fight battlecruiser versus battlecruiser. I don't think that's going to be good for him. Anyway, the Fusion Core is now done. The tanks continue to roll forward. There's no planetary here to defend this. Gumiho wedges his way in there. It's not an army that Byun can really fight at all. These Vikings continue to fall. And now Gumiho, he's up 20 army supply. He has that additional base. He's 5 bases to 4. Byun trying to take one of his own. The battlecruiser continues to find value. It's healthy. It is now. Its job is just to kill tanks wherever he wants. He's fine harassment on the mineral line as well. And this is just a game where Byun really is not in a good spot. He was in incredible position early. He held off all the shenanigans from Gumiho. He denied the proxy battlecruiser. He found value of his own, but not making that transition, throwing armies away. He allowed Gumiho across the map to siege up to kill a base. And now I don't know what Byun is really supposed to do. The tanks, they siege up, and despite the Marauders getting on top of things, there's just too much damage here. More Hellions arrive. The Vikings, they're going to have to land, and even that seems scary. And Cyclones arrive as well. The army does not get cleaned. There we go. The Vikings land, and they're just going to die. Byun is dead. What a comeback from Gumiho. And they have it right, folks, in the gold. He's up 2 games to 1 off a fantastic late game mech game. It's Gumiho. And of course, in the bottom left, in the red, down 1. But he had a lead in game 3. Maybe he can make it a little better in game 4. It's Byun. No proxies, nothing too crazy from Gumiho in this game, not yet. And it looks like, well, we're gonna have to see where we go. Right now, Tropical Sacrifice is a big map. It's a map that you kind of get your 4 bases for free. All right, this is more pushable, right? The linear third is a bit more, it's a bit more possible to attack into, but SimCity clears a lot of that. I mean, good luck attacking into the base that players tend to take first, this triangular third. So it's a map that does tend to go a little bit longer. And I don't know if it feels like we've seen Byun a couple times tonight. That's not even really fair. I mean, the classic series, he was down early and he made a late game comeback. But what weird build does Byun throw out there? Does Gumiho throw out there? To not only maybe win a game, to not only win this series, but also to muddy the waters for GSL next week. Excuse me. Now it looks like not a lot. We should see the natural coming down from Byun soon enough. And there we go. On location for both players. But Gumiho's just a little faster. That's maybe going to be an extra SCV. I mean, one SCV. So we have yet to see any sort of build idea differentiation. We can talk about build orders all we want, but at the end of the day, it's about ideas. It's, you know, do I get aggressive here? Does this unlock the map? As the Reapers get a nice double shot off, and actually that means that they will win this fight, as the Hellion has not taken any damage just yet. So nice micro here from Gumiho as he tries to dive on top of things, but line of sight blocker is still nice. But yeah, there we go. Gumiho wins the trade. This is not going to be consequential, folks. I mean, it's nice. You knock down the map control of Byun, but both players have Hellion. The Reapers are both dead. Although Gumiho did build another Reaper. I'm sorry I wasn't paying enough attention to the production tab. So Reaper now gets on top of the SCV, denies that one, delays the base, and now Gumiho gets a good idea of what's happening. Honestly, the two Hellions and the Reaper could make this fight. But, oh yeah, the Widowmine. Widowmine will deny that for now. So a third Hellion arrives. This is a drop. This is droppable. Actually, we're going to be 4 Hellions. Gumiho wants to end this game quick. We're going to see a quad Hellion drop into a medevac, into the main base, with maybe some Reaper harass somewhere else. But it's only one Reaper, so it doesn't represent a lot. The goal will be, well, actually, it's dead Reaper. Okay, so no distractions there from Gumiho, but that might lead Byun to put his army into the natural, now that he doesn't really have to deny a scout, because the Reapers are dead. But it seems like he's just going to play the more middle of the road path, keep it right on the ramp, saying, I can rotate to pressure on either side. We're going to be fine. And of course, Byun, his Raven is going to be much quicker than Gumiho's is, because of course Gumiho did commit to these 3 extra Hellions and the medevac. But oh, that's great timing there from Byun. But even still, the Hellions are now in, pulling some SCVs away. The shots not going where they need to be just yet. Medevac getting zoned out. In fact, I think it just died. 2 workers go down, make it 3, make it a little bit more. And now they're going to look to run into the natural, but it's a long way to go. Still, actually, good shots on the Marines, and that is going to be the extent of it. Maybe another Marine falls, but only 3 SCVs go down. Excellent hold there from Byun. But the medevac got out. I thought it went down. Okay. So Gumiho now up about 3 workers. His third base on the way, but Byun's just about done. So we're going to see Byun equalize that worker count pretty quickly. Once that third base completes, he's just going to have 1 more worker per cycle, and you know, triple mules versus double mules. I don't think that got enough from Gumiho. I think he maybe needed 4 or 5, maybe even 6 workers to really justify it, but it's not like he's miles behind. The Raven count, though, is something that is a little bit concerning to me, as Byun has been pretty consistently now going to 3 Ravens versus his opponent's 2. So that means he's going to have a lot of energy to full frontal, to just drop a lot of auto turrets, to disable a lot of tanks, whatever you want to call it, whatever he decides to go for. I mean, there is going to be a timing around maybe Gumiho's third base where Byun may be able to break in, just because he has that superior Raven energy count. Now, of course, he could just use this for massive harassment, and he does do that too. But for now, I mean, that is maybe going to be the punish that Byun finds off of holding this. Already, I mean, he finds himself with a quicker orbital, right? He's going to be able to build SCVs faster, so he's already caught back up in worker count for the most part. But there's always like more than one punish. It's more than just, oh, well, I have a couple more workers. It's like, okay, well, I have maybe this tech tempo too, or map control or something. So now Byun moves forward. Ravens, they're looking to assassinate something, like maybe get a tank or just annihilate them. Yeah, they're just going to look to annihilate a mineral line. 1 auto turret gets dropped. SCV's preemptively pulled here away from things. Byun looking to box things in. Oh, already won. Oh, this is great positioning here from Gumiho. Auto turrets don't really get all that much, but that's a problem. That is dropping the base on top of the army of Byun is maybe not the best thing. They're going to say that, but these Ravens, one of them has fallen. And the other two don't have a what they got a couple auto turrets left. But Gumiho down in the middle of the map here, just scanned out by Byun. Seems well aware of what's happening. But in the middle of the map, Ravens, they're going to look for something good. Lock on there. Auto turret gets dropped, forcing the Cyclone back. One Raven is dead. So now it is Raven advantage for Byun once again. Is Gumiho trying to beeline forward onto the other side of the map, but Byun doing a great job of zoning this out. He says, I kind of know what you're up to here, Gumiho. I'm going to make sure my rally is just this line of defense that says you cannot actually pass here. So Gumiho's going to have to back up. But he has secured his third base. He's only down about 4 workers. He hand dropped those scans, and remember, his upgrades are faster. We saw that happen in the Data C game. Now Gumiho did eventually fall behind. No, not the Data C game. Excuse me, the Inside and Out game. Or was it the first? Whatever. In one of the games. Well, I can't remember which one it was. And that eventually, he lost that upgrade, but that doesn't necessarily mean he will lose that in this one. And Gumiho just, in general, seems to be a little bit quicker on upgrades for the Bios drop. Oh, I love that use of the disable there. And the auto turret as well, and knocks down the Marines, and there we go. So that drop finds absolutely no value. And Byun scans out once again, trying to trap this army of Gumiho, which has no escape method, by the way. No medevacs here, nothing to hot pick up and run. Tanks now, they're going to look to siege up, but Bio of Byun sims forward anyways, but it's 1-1 versus 0-0. The Bio of Gumiho is just pure and simply better with the tank shots as well, so Gumiho wins that fight, now sieging up the natural where there's more production. A Marine runs forward from Gumiho, just trying to make sure he has some semblance of vision here, but the tanks, they got to run, they got to hide. They do not have positive vision there, so the Vikings, they land. I don't really like that, actually. I think you keep the Vikings in the air, maybe zone out Byun a little longer. Well, Gumiho loses some tanks, he loses some Bio, he loses some Vikings, and he knocks down a reactor. So Gumiho scans out, says, okay, the army's not there anymore. Maybe I can get some sort of siege up once again. But yeah, Gumiho already, he just picks up and runs. The command center's got to move pretty quickly though, because that is a lot of Vikings that will be in orbital that dies. But Gumiho says, you know what, game one worked for me really well with that base trade. Maybe I can do it again. SCVs have been pulled preemptively. 18 SCVs have died. Meanwhile, SCVs chasing the tanks and the Marines out of the natural base. So Byun needs to return back to mining there. But the tanks and the Marines in this situation, okay, it's 1-1 versus 1-1. Armory going down. That's just dead. Tanks sieged up the natural. SCVs, well, they got to get pulled back for the time being. It's going to be hard for Byun to break the high ground, though. He only has 1 medevac, and it's only tanks. So there's a lot more mobility in Gumiho's army here. But he's got to be careful because the Vikings do represent tremendous threat, but SCVs have to get pulled here. Tanks get a proper siege. Gumiho needs to unsiege those very quickly, though, because he will just lose everything. And now Marines are get pulled into this. Tank actually getting good shots on the Bio, but now we have to see the Bio of Gumiho run away. Medevacs continue to fall, but 33 SCVs have died. Beyond now, his economy not in nearly as good of a spot, but does Gumiho still have 3 orbitals? No, he lost. Oh, wait. Yeah, he did lose the natural. Didn't pull that one back away in time. So Gumiho really only mining on 1 base, gun on 2. This game has gotten extremely complicated for both sides. Gumiho can't break out of his main base. Technically, he's in the economic lead, but if we look at this, not really, because Byun has access to 3 mineral lines. If Gumiho can continue to do what he's been doing and multi-prong and drop and force Byun into awkward situations, maybe knock down this army that's running home, which he won't be able to do. You know what? These tanks, this is vulnerable as hell. If Gumiho realized that the Vikings and the Ravens were on the map, he just dropped a couple Marines on that one. This would be, what is this, 6 dead tanks? That would be the army supply lead that Gumiho has, and then it's Bio versus Bio and tanks. I mean, that is very much in the favor of the Bio, but also this means that Gumiho says, I'm going to siege up here on the right side. I got a tank here, you don't here, and that means this base is under tremendous threat. SCVs have to get pulled. Bio doing what it can, but again, this is superior concave coming in from Gumiho, so he's going to win this fight, I think. And barely, no, he's not. The rally is going to be good. He's finding out a tank range, and that may just do it. But still, Gumiho killed 13 more SCVs. Gumiho needs a way to get his orbitals on the map. If he does that, he's going to be in a great spot. But as of right now, the income is just, it's such a problem. And there was a timing where Gumiho was able to just drop on top of that, break out. but he didn't know the Vikings were on the map. He assumed that they were still defending. He didn't scan it at the right time. So we do see Gumiho. He's moving one of his orbitals onto that 12 o'clock spot. That Byun scanned briefly, but not anymore. And I wouldn't even mind seeing it moving some medevacs back home, just to hot drop SCVs onto the base. But now we have tanks inching their way forward, denying the mineral line in its entirety. And the drop from Gumiho is not going to find what it needs either. Byun, he's closing things out here. It's kind of funny looking at this. You're like, well, you know, it seems like the base trade worked out for Gumiho, but it didn't. Not at all. SCV, the game is more than SCV counted, folks. We're going to game 5. Folks, in the upper left now in the gold. Victors of game 1 and 3, losing games 2 and 4. So that mean he wins game 5? I don't know. It's Gumiho. Of course, his opponent in the upper right in the red. Looking to put 2 together. It's Byun. So do we see anything in this game that takes advantage of the Xel'Naga, that takes advantage of these pocket bases, of how droppable it is? We've seen Battlecruiser play, we've seen Banshee play. Paradoxically, I don't think we see anything like that. It feels like too obvious, low-hanging fruit. You know, it's one of those scenarios where Byun and Gumiho probably don't go for something like that, just realistically because they think their opponent may be expecting it. And the Xel'Naga tower is so powerful that the drops are scouted far in advance, as long as you maintain it. So we will see at least Gumiho expanding. Actually, there we go. There's our difference. He's going for a Reaper expand on Stargazers because that natural is so easy to take, as long as you don't get dropped or something. So, well, if Byun just goes Barracks Double Gas Factory, that is a build order disadvantage for him. Unless he gets damage done, but there's no natural to run into, so I don't think he will. Unless he, say, gets a really quick Banshee or a drop or something, he's able to break into that natural and really cause damage. But I don't think the timings are going to work out all that well for him. So I think we can say, you know, Gumiho pretty solidly putting himself in a lead in this game number 5. Now, of course, we have to wait until the flop. We have to see the cards hit the table and other wonderful poker references. But as of right now, I mean, this strikes me as just a build order win or a build order advantage for Gumiho, because I just don't see the viability of the gas heavier opening finding damage in Gumiho's base, because he only has to defend one spot. I mean, Reapers can dive in, but without the Hellions there's nothing to stop the Hellions of Gumiho from just really defending easily. And the funny thing is, the starport of Gumiho is faster, so he can go into drops just a little bit sooner. So now Byun moving on to the other side of the map. He says, pressure. My old friend. Let's see if I can get something done. But it's a wall. The Reapers can dive into the high ground, and we are on 3 Reapers at the very least. So 3 Reapers do 2-shot SCVs, and actually this is not a full wall. So the Reaper goes up on the high ground and says, okay, I'm aware of what's up here, looking to tank some shots. So, it seems like a weird pathing issue. The Reaper was just kind of floating on the edge of things. There's a Reaper on the other side. Gumiho gets a SCV, and Byun committing further to the aggression, less to his economy, doesn't. So, yeah, this is not good. This is... we already had Gumiho in a bit of a build order advantage, and then he finds it's a 1 SCV. I mean, does it really matter? Probably not, but it's more of the idea of it. Doing economic damage while you just get greedy at home. Here comes some Hellions from Gumiho into the natural. Actually, Byun's army is just not here. So this is going to represent some value, as it takes, of course, 2 shots from this to kill SCVs, but the Marines, they're lining themselves up rather obligingly. So Gumiho says, okay, well, that's fine. I'll just kill a bunch of Marines instead. Cyclone comes in from behind, but 2 workers go down, a bunch of Marines go down, a lot of the fighting force of Byun now not really available. And it more importantly, forces the Cyclones, forces the Hellions of Byun to go back home. So they don't really represent that much threat. So Byun does have an army supply lead, and I mean, a couple Cyclones, or a Cyclone can be powerful, but all this is gonna do is gonna deny the bunker that gets canceled, and maybe Gumiho can't take his 3rd base super quickly, but we're not even see Byun get his 3rd base on the way. So even in this setup, I mean, it's just I hate to beat a dead horse here, but it does feel like it's just a scenario that Gumiho is ahead in really every reasonable way, but who knows? Byun is up about 15 army supply. He does have that production faster. Maybe this double drop is going to be what it takes to go, and is going to be what it takes to break this game wide open. Because, I mean, it's 2 tanks and a Viking, a couple Marines. For Gumiho, that's not a lot of power in every place, but the bunker on the pocket base is nice. The medevacs, they run forward and they say, maybe not, but they're going to drop off anyways. Here, Byun looking for the break as the 3rd base of Gumiho does go down. 2 tanks are sieged. 3rd one sieged up as well as the 1st one dies. Bio continues to run forward. A 2nd tank dead here. Auto turret gets dropped. Byun drops the stim now. He gets on top of the tank. It's dead. Now he can run into the high ground, but no, he can't. Medevac falls, and Gumiho maintains his worker lead. Yeah, he's not mining out of the base right now, but the reinforcements from Gumiho will arrive soon. But okay, drop from Byun onto the high ground. The missile turret's done just a little bit too late. No, that's a beefy shot. So 16 SCVs have gone down, and everything I was saying about, big economic leads, well, may not be quite as true anymore. Is this the random little bits and bobs from the drop from Byun earlier? They still haven't been dealt with. So Byun, bit of an army supply lead, significant worker lead. Now his upgrades, of course, will be a little bit slower, but he did have that stim timing. We're going to see him start to move across the map once again. This is a game of tempo from Byun right now. If he lets it off, it will still be good for Gumiho, probably. Well, as I say that, I mean, 10 workers is still a lot. Byun has his 3rd base done soon enough. But the upgrades, right? Those are going to be a big deal with combat shields with 1-1. But actually, Byun does have combat shields. But anyway, the biostim's forward. SCVs continue to get pulled. Byun not able to get on top of the tank just yet. He's not really targeting that down. And as the Vikings, the Ravens arrive, it's just going to be 4 more SCVs. So 3 more SCVs hit the deck, and now Byun rotates on over to where the bunker is, which means he can't really break in. But he's still up 12 workers. Army supply still somewhat equivalent. And remember, Gumiho went combat shields before stim, which does mean that his army is beefy. But it really can't fight all that well. I mean, stim to Vio versus... I feel like in general you want stim over combat shields. But the 1-1 of Gumiho is done at the very least. So he does have that, the fact that his army is significantly beefier, and while stim is still there for Byun, and I mean, stim for Gumiho is going to be done soon enough, the +1 offsets that to some degree. And this run by from Gumiho, just a couple Marines on the bottom side, trying to deny the 4th base, and they may be successful in that one. We don't really see no, Byun seems to be. I don't know what Byun knows about this. I don't know what he saw, but he is well aware of what's happening. So he's gonna be able to track all this down. I don't know. The star sense from Byun is just something else. He sees that, he knocks it down. Maybe he had a Marine or something on the other side of the map that saw that run by leave the base. But now, I mean, that's a lot of the map control from Gumiho. That was like 16 Marines that just went down. More. So Byun very solidly on his 4 bases now. His 2-2, not that much for, like, it's like 5 seconds behind Gumiho at this point, so no big upgrade disadvantage. Getting on those 6, 7, 8 racks. And the question now is, how does Byun break Gumiho? Gumiho has spent a lot of his money into this army. No 4th base. He is kind of all in on this 3-base 1-1 setup. I mean, he does have 2-2 on the way, sure, but you know, he's not on 8 racks just yet. He's only on 5, but he's just spent all of his money in his army. Not really. Again, he hasn't committed to the 4th base. So Byun stims forward. Tank's not yet sieged up. 1 goes down to start here, and Gumiho is setting up the concave. Oh, those Ravens. They can get all the tanks. They can knock this down. This is a world where Gumiho finds the value he's looking for. 2 tanks will be disabled. 3 tanks disabled. It's only 1 firing, so Gumiho stims in. Actually, no, there's no tanks firing here. So it's just a couple Marines versus a whole hell of a lot more. STV's getting get pulled. At the very least, this equalizes the game for Gumiho, but it feels like it's just worth even more than that. 21 STVs died. The Marines, they're not even dead from Gumiho at this point. The Ravens, one of them took a little bit of damage, and that's it. It feels like Gumiho will force Byun off this position now. He just has to re-siege, and he lands a mule. He lands a mule to repair the Ravens. That's how important these Ravens are, and I mean, I think that is absolutely fair. It's a 30 army supply lead for Gumiho at this point, equalizing the worker count. The tanks now, they move forward. It's only 2 tanks to the 6 of Gumiho that Byun has. Now, the Marines, they got to be a little bit careful. They were maybe a little bit too exposed, but this tank fire is fantastic. And here comes Gumiho stimming in. The tanks, the 2 tanks, all of that remain. Gumiho slaps Byun aside from the disadvantage. Again, a fantastic comeback. And he takes game 5, folks. He's your champion, EPT Korea 142.